Welcome back. Next video in the Eurythm design build process and everything. If you remember last time I left off, I was working on the designs. I'm still kind of playing around with them. I have them up here on the screen. You can see I'm kind of just changing up the way I'm messing around with the way I'm displaying each of the recordings at each time. I think I was just previously showing the average and that was it. Oh yeah, it's right over here. And that's kind of annoying, not exactly very helpful for a user. Instead, I'm kind of moving towards this and I'm playing around with how to differentiate each cell from the background, because otherwise it kind of just gets lost within that. Anyway, I'm going to play around with that as I go. This often happens with apps. Your designers are going to be playing with the designs even up until the point in which you release the app. I'm not kidding. And this is a part of the agile process where you learn new information and then you adjust and update as you go. So we'll see. I'll be playing with this, and I probably will be changing a lot of stuff as I go anyway. But that's not what I want to show you this week. So what I've done is gone through and created a bunch of stories. I don't want to bore you with actually writing the stories, because they can be boring. But basically, I've gone through the whole home screen and I've selected up different portions of the screen and written stories for it, like the add button, the settings, date selection, date data, graph and stuff. And I've written them, so if I select this, as kind of how a user perspective is, and that's what the agile process does. You take a feature and you look at it generally from a user's perspective, and you say, all right, well, what do I want this to look like? So in this case, the add button, as a user, I would like to record the time, record my focus, motivation, and energy for the current time. On the home screen, there is a fab at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. If the user taps it, there's visual feedback. If I had the screen created and designed, another thing would be that when the user taps it, the input screen would pop up. This is what we call acceptance criteria, and you have to meet the acceptance criteria before you get the ticket passed over and it's complete and it's done. So anyway, I don't want to dive too deep into that because, like I said, it's kind of boring and it's very high level. But I do suggest, if you are building your own app, you kind of think about this and think about this process and think about each little detail about how it goes. And how you break down the screen is basically very much like, all right, well, if I go over here and I see this right here, what would be a good unit of work? Oh, okay, well, here's the settings button. What do I expect the settings to do as a user? If I tap it, then I should see the settings screen. If I tap it and nothing happens, I should at least see some visual feedback, so like that ripple effect. All right, then you look, okay, cool, here's the dates and stuff. I want to talk about that. Like, just instead of just sitting there trying to build out the entire screen all in one go, kind of break it down into each little step. And that's what you're going to see over the next couple of weeks. But first, what I've done is I have two stories up here called App Setup and Create the Database. And this week and probably next week, I'm going to be working on this. This is what's called my sprint. My next 2 weeks are going to be setting up the setting up the app so that I can actually get working on it and get using it and doing everything that I need to do. The first thing is just the app setup. It's basically create the app and include these libraries. And then I want to create the database, which is basically going to be a room database, because I want the app to remember user information. That's basically what we're going to be doing over the next 2 weeks. So first, so I'm going to just go ahead and hit start the sprint. It's going to start 2 weeks starting on today and then ending 2 weeks from now. It looks like Valentine's Day. Cool. And then some teams will do like sprint goals and stuff. sprint goals and stuff, and I'm not gonna care write that. I really, whatever. So we'll hit start, and there we go. You can see the stories here. Now, one thing I do want to note is that there are story points. You can read up on this on your own. I'm not going to talk about story points unless you really want me to, and go into like a whole diatribe about them. Like, yeah. Anyway, you can read up story points on Agile process on your own. So, whoa, interesting. All right, so I'm going to move this guy over to in progress because that's what I'm going to be doing today, is getting the app set up. First thing that I'm going to want to do is kind of get an idea of what the libraries are that I'm going to be using and implementing. First up is going to be the material component. Whoops. Everything's editable in here, and that's kind of annoying. But anyway, you know. First up is the material components library. I'm going to be using Dagger. I'm going to do the view. Recycler view is going to be a big thing. View binding is going to be what I'm going to use for all of my stuff. If you haven't used it before, it's pretty awesome. Room, obviously, MP Android chart, lifecycle stuff, so like view models and lifecycle events, everything like that, and then 310 ABP. I'm going to walk through each of these real quick. So material components is pretty obvious. So let's see. Material components. All right, so right here. All right, I can go over here to the develop instead and just dive over to the GitHub repos. And it's going to tell me how to pull that in. Material components is basically all of, here's getting started. This is what I want. Yeah, that's really what I want. All right, material components is basically all of the components that you're going to be using. The fab, the dialogues, the bottom sheets, the tabs, all of that stuff. So that's what that is. Then there's Dagger 2. So Dagger dev. Everybody should be familiar with Dagger, dependency injection, everything, and that's what I'm gonna be using to take care of all my dependency injection stuff. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Hold on, let me just adjust this a little bit. There you go, that's much better. Okay, let's see what else. Let's see, the recycler view should be pretty self-explanatory. View binding, I won't talk about that right now. I'll talk about it when I get into it and start building everything out. Room is the room database stuff. Let's see, do I have a tab open for that? I think I do. Oh, here we go. Save stuff. So Room is really nice because it allows us to store information in our SQLite database for our app very quickly and easily. I like it a lot. It's very simple. MP Android chart is amazing. It is like it is a very huge huge library of just charting everything. Like, look at this, you can create sine waves and all these really awesome things. Like, this looks awesome, and this is what I want, this type of thing. If I go back over to my designs, you can see how I have the spark graph line thingy, and that's what this is kind of showing. Yeah, it's also very customizable, all of the designs, which makes it a perfect choice for any type of graphing that you're going to do. Lifecycle should be obvious, and then 310 ABP is a library that Jake Wharton pulled from Java over to Android that makes our lives much easier when it comes to time stuff. So java.time, because that was a Java 8 thing, we for the longest time didn't have access to it in Android. We had to use 310 ABP to pull it back into it. I'm going to include it mainly because there's going to be some libraries that are not going to be able to. So for example, you can sit here and say, all right, development on this library is winding down. Please consider switching to Android Gradle plugin 4.0 because guess what? it's already included. So we'll see. We'll see how this works. I may not actually include this now that I'm double checking and reading this, because it's probably in there and I should be able to use Java 8 as it is. All right, so that's it. Let's get going. Next step is going to actually be creating the repo. So I'm going to go over to my GitHub organization and actually create the repo itself. The reason I'm doing this is because it generates a really nice git ignore for me, and I can pull things down. So we'll go over here. New, we're going to call this you. All right, cool. It's available. Let's see. App for helping users track their ultradian rhythm. Okay. I could set this to public. I think I will. That way you can always go back. You can go and look at this yourself and kind of maybe get an idea of what it's going to look like. I'm going to include a readme, and then I'm going to include git ignore. Let's see. There should be an Android one. There we go. Choosing a license. This is going to be important if I were to open source this. There's a lot of different licenses out there. So I'm going to keep a license alone for the moment and not, like, I don't want this to be completely open source, in the sense that I don't really want to, I don't want people to have to be allowed to like grab and steal it. So I have to go and look at some of the, steal it. I'm really not that concerned, actually. Basically, I just don't want it to be completely open source where anybody can go and do whatever they want, but I do want it to be open so that people can go and learn from it. And that's the big thing. So I have to kind of double check which licenses allow me to do that. It's been a little bit, so. Anyway, go ahead and create the repo. Cool. There we go. All set. Git ignores all there. Readme, git ignore. Done. Pretty much. Cool. All right, so let's go over to Android Studio and we'll create a new project, because that's the next step. I always select empty activity. We'll hit next. So we're going to call this rhythm. Yeah, kind of dumb. All right, language is Kotlin, and you notice that I have API 24 selected. If you want any, you can kind of get an idea of how to get more and more people. There's a reason I have 24 selected. Oh, that number's gone up since the last time I looked at this. All right, I'm just going to stick with that. Cool, it's building everything out. And if I term repo LSC, boom, you rhythm ls. All right, so you'll notice that this isn't initiated with Git. Git isn't quite there yet. So what I'm going to do is git init. All right, using master. Yep. Default branch. Yep. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, cool. So now what I can do is I can go over here and I can copy. Let's see. Git remote. Oops, not remote. Git remote. Add origin there. All right. And then I can pull. So git pull. And then I have to enter my passphrase because. All right, cool. GST, get status. All right, let's see how I can pull this down. Pull from origin master. Fatal, couldn't find ref master. Oh, because they I hate it when they do this. Git branch tag m master main J. git pull from origin main. All right, cool. So what ended up happening here is I had to add in and update a bunch of stuff with Git. GitHub has started calling their master branch main, and then we have to change the name here locally because for whatever reason the my local Git or just Git in general doesn't really match that. So I just changed the name and I pulled it down and everything. So whatever, all good to go. Now I just have to make sure that the idea folder is not included in my git ignore. So let's see, idea, right? Oh, all right. So they include everything. He should. All right, cool. Then I add everything, git add app build Gradle dot properties Gradle. Oops, not that. Gradle w dot bat, and then settings txt, then git add dot git ignore, and I'm gonna commit it. All right, setting up project. And I'm pushing it. All right, sweet. It's all there. Yep, cool. Go in here, source, main. Yep. All right, awesome. So now my project's all set up on GitHub. I'm all good to go. Cool. I've got version control. I'm able to start working everything. All right, so first step, let's grab the material component. Actually, so first step here is often what you will see when you go to an app and Gradle, you'll don't know why it does that. You'll see this. You'll see how everybody has their dependencies set up in this manner. This is not a very efficient way to handle your dependencies. I prefer to put them in a separate file and manage everything that way. And the reason we do that is because, okay, I don't care. Well, looks like everything's outdated. Ha! Fun. Because of this outdated stuff, and because when you look at it, you've got like app component 1.1.0 is Android app compat 1.1.0, and materials kind of like the same, and it's just isn't properly managed. So there is a really nice little this article here by Kevin Schweitzer is very nice at explaining how we can go about building our apps or creating a file to help manage our libraries and dependencies for us in a separate file, make things nice and clean and supportive. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go right here, new, whoops. Not packages. change the project structure. Go down here. And we'll go there. New. Let's see, is there a Gradle file? Whatever. So then we're going to do, we'll call it dependencies.gradle. And it starts with ext. And ext is basically just an extension, Gradle extension enclosure. So that way we say, oh, okay, well, this is what we're going to be doing. Then what I'm going to do is say, cool, I'm going to go back over here to my build.gradle file. And I want the core KTX. I want to grab each of these. So what we'll do is define versions for each of these libraries and pull it in. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's see. Okay, so now I've created each of the different versions. Now I'm going to group them basically the way he's got them. So he's defined a variable, general dependencies. It's an array. Remember, angled braces like this, square braces like this indicate an array and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so what I just did is I went through and I pulled all of the libraries over into here. So, and I also went through and updated the versions to the absolute latest. So now I have to actually go and apply these versions to the Gradle file. So let's do that. It's real simple, real easy. Go here, scroll up to the top, and then you see, if we scroll down here, apply from, so it's pretty easy. Apply from dependencies Gradle. Okay, so we apply from dependencies.gradle. We'll sync. Hopefully this works. Oh, nope. Line 5, which is that. Which means I'm missing a colon. Ta-da! Colons are important. All right. Indexing. So now what's really awesome is I can take all of these right here and I can go delete ext dot, and then I should be able to just say root project ext dot general dependencies. Cover key, right? Yep. 38. I love it when I have a problem. Meh. All right, so I kind of messed up. It's all right. It has to go to the top level one, top level project one overall, and then you go down here and you do general dependencies.kotlin, and I can just basically say the same thing with all of them. So let's go ahead and add them all in. Of course, I cannot spell. Okay, there we go. We got it all. We have everything set up. It's all good to go. This is really, really useful when you have a multi-modular project. This app is probably not going to be multi-modular. I don't really see any reason to make it that way. Okay, so I had to jump around a little bit and kind of actually I had to reference a previous project. Yeah, so basically what I ended up doing and what I messed up is I had this apply outside of the build script and it needed to be inside the build script. The reason for this is so it can actually be applied and passed down to everything. So if I go back over here, everything's working, everything's looking nice. If I go to my dependencies, it's all pretty much there. I don't know, I did create def these. These are local variables, local to the enclosure here, and that's about it. So that's it. That's basically what I can do. One nice thing that I can also do to clean this up quite a bit instead of having so many lines is I can sit here and say implementation, values, and then test dependencies, values, and then if I sync it, everything should be good. Let's see. Yeah, good to go. Let's go double check. All right, yep. Yeah, good to go. So there we go. I took multiple lines in my Gradle file and like shrunk it down to 2. We do this in a lot of our projects. So this values basically grabs everything in that array and then applies it and uses it in the implementation, and then boom, applies it to that module. The reason we do this is so we can kind of separate things out like this and kind of separate it out too for the modules. For you can separate it out by theme, you can separate it out by all these different stuff. So let's go back to here. And let's grab the material components. Let's make sure I have the latest. All right, com Google material stuff. All right, good to go. Com Google material. Yep. All right, cool. So material components is all added in. That's great. Let's go to Dagger and let's add this. We'll grab Dagger. Okay, so one of the most annoying things is they just kind of, they don't really make it easy to see where it is that you add the Gradle stuff. Haha, there it is. They should put this all the way up to the top. Bad documentation. Okay, so yeah, we don't need the support libraries. So what we'll do, copy this. So to make things a little bit, actually, let's see. Let's go to the GitHub. They don't even make it. Oh, they have a new setup way to do it. So here's the thing. It's been a long time since I actually had to import it because usually I'm working on projects where everything's already built out for us. So anywho, all right, let's grab these. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over here and then we're going to go dependency injection. Mainly because, so I'm putting it slightly in a different one in case I want to switch it to something like coin at some point. We'll see. Let's see. Dagger. Oops. All right, so then we'll go up here. We'll go Dagger version. And what's the current version? Release 231.2. 2.31.2. Go down here. Wow. Cool. Copy there. Dagger. We'll go annotation. Sister. That's probably going to be a bad one because if I scroll down here, let's see. Yeah, see. Let's see. We'll call it annotations. So the reason I didn't want to call it annotation processor is it's a directive in Gradle, and I definitely don't want that. So I don't want the clashes. Okay, cool. So then what I go here, and then I say, all right, implementation dependency injection.dagger, and then I believe, oops, where dagger run? Oh, I am in the right. Cool. So at this point, then I'm gonna have to do capped dependency injection dot annotations. All right, so got to double check myself on how to add capped to it. Capped is the Kotlin annotation processor. So let's go ahead and look that up. Android capped. Using capped. Cool. Come on. This isn't helpful. What's who's this? Interesting. Nice website. Yeah, that's what this is really what I want. So scroll up here, plugins. Okay, so anyway, Kotlin, oops, capped. All right, everything's good. Good to go. Cool. Next one on the list is the recycler view. So typically, when you want anything from Android, specifically the new Jetpack stuff, you just go here, Android Jetpacks, everything, and you can hit the libraries, and we can go and we can kind of look for the recycler view in this list. See, this is a list of every single library, every single, every dependency that Google has put out that's a part of Jetpack. There's a lot. And it's really nice because they've separated things out so that you don't have to pull everything in all at one time, so you can kind of shrink your apps down. I like it. It's kind of nice. So I'll hit recycler view. And then this gives me a nice little list of the versions that are currently out there, and I can just like copy this. I'm going to put it right into the general dependencies because guess what? It's pretty much going to be used on every screen. So recycler view. Cool. Pull this out. Let's see. Def recycler view version. Cool. Recycler view. Cool. All right, so recycler view has been added. Go here, looking for view binding. So let's go ahead and turn on view binding. I believe they changed this recently, so I have to double check myself on this. Android view binding. Do a quick search. Pull it up. Scroll down. Yeah, so they changed it and it just says build features view binding to true. So I go over here, I scroll up, and in this Android block right here in my modules, build.gradle file, I just build features, view binding true, turns on view binding for me, and I'm good to go. All right, cool. View binding's on. Next, I want to go to grab room. So I'm going to go back to the Jetpack stuff, and we'll go scroll back here, and then here's room. And basically, it's everything that I want. I'm going to pull in the coroutines version because I want to use coroutines for this. I should have put that in the ticket, but I didn't. But oh well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, or actually I'm going to copy this out. Ooh, actually, haha. So let's copy room version. Go to dependencies. Up here. follow mine. We'll go down here. We'll grab this room. Make sure it's using the correct version of room. So one thing that's interesting is that I have to use capped this. I can't really include that in the general dependencies because of the way that goes. So what I can do is, instead of saying that, I can go and do something like annotations equals this, and then I can go room, and we'll copy this over. Then I'm going to pull the dagger one down. So this guy, I'm going to call this dagger. So it's like annotations, like, yeah, annotations. So anything that's annotation processor. There we go. There, that's it. Then I'm going to grab the coroutines. So room coroutines. There we go. Let's get the comma. Cool. Go over here to this. All right, so annotations dot dagger, and then I want to do capped annotations dot dagger. Make sure I spelled that right. Yes. Okay, cool. So that's there. I need to pull in MP Android chart next. Where did I put that thing? Right here. So, is this it? No, this is KT-Lit. MP Android chart. All right, so here's a slightly different thing. They have this stored at Jetpack, so I have to copy this Maven version to Jetpack, or to do that. So we'll go over here, go up there, and we'll just add it to the repositories section of our overall build script to pull it down. And then I'll just do this. Boom, boom. Dependencies. I guess I'm going to leave it in the general one, just in case, you know. MP Android chart. Def MP Android chart version. What was that? MP Android chart version. Should be good to go. Oh, gotta make sure these are double quotes instead of single quotes. There we go. Looks nice. Looks nice. Go back to the story. 310 APP. We're gonna skip that for the time being. Go here because the next one is the lifecycle stuff. Lifecycle is pretty freaking awesome. All right, there's a lot of things in here that we need, or that we have access to. I shouldn't say need, have access to. We don't necessarily need to grab all of these at once, but we can take a look at this. So first off, what we want to do is we want to pull in the view model and the live data. So what I am going to do is grab the version. Use my style. Then grab these. And then we'll go down here. You can see that this array is getting pretty long. It may not necessarily make sense for how I have this set up at the moment, based upon how small this project seems to be at the moment. However, when you get to really large projects, this is definitely going to be very helpful, very key for, like I said, for large projects and our projects with lots of different modules. So everything is like defined in one place, and it's really good to have. All right, let's see, save state module. I'm not going to use that just yet. The annotation processor for the lifecycle, so that's like I'm not going to touch that. Let's see if using okay, so this is definitely Lifecycle compiler. Yeah, so that's the annotation processor, specifically using Java 8 and above. Not going to touch that. Helpers for implementing lifecycle owner in a service. Don't need that just yet, so I'm not going to touch it. Let's see. Process lifecycle owner provides a lifecycle for the whole application process. That's not useful for this app just at the moment. Maybe later. Reactive streams for live data. So this is converting live data to RX. Not touching it. And then the testing helpers for the live data. So yes, I definitely want to grab this. So I'm going to take this, go over here, put it into my test dependencies. So live data. And I need to get the Arch version, which is a different version than the lifecycle one. So lifecycle is at 2.2. Arch version is at 2.1. So we'll do this. Let's see. We're going to call this live data test version. That's a lot more descriptive than Arch version. So let's go ahead and sync. Everything should be good to go. Awesome. Okay, so it failed to get the MP Android chart for some reason. So I'm gonna have to look at. Let's look at that. Oh well. All right, so other than this minor issue of trying to pull down MP Android chart 3.1.0, this is it. This is all set up. It's all good to go. I'm going to commit this and push it up to GitHub, so you should be able to see it and take a look and explore the versions and explore how I set this up, and I don't know, maybe pull it down and play around with it yourself. Up to you. All right, so if you enjoy this, I am currently, like I said, in the process of building this app out from beginning to end. If you enjoy this, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know the next video that I'm going to be working on. Next one's actually going to be, let's see, what was it? Let's take a look at what I have scheduled in Atlassian. Creating the room database. So just like you're going to see me actually build out the room database itself. That'll be great. That'll be a lot of fun. Should be quick, simple. Well, nothing's quick or simple with Android. Anyway, so hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you want to know when that is going to be out. Otherwise, hit the like button. That really helps this channel out, and share this video with someone that you think would find this interesting. And I will see you next time.